This is a 2016 GMC Sierra 2500 with a 6.0 in it. Bought it at Ritchie Brothers auction, and one thing I learned is if you got this sticker on there, don't buy that car. Just stay away from them. That's a pretty good thing to learn. I bought it as a running truck. It was on the video. I couldn't tell what was wrong with the motor. It was running, but it had a exhaust leak, so I couldn't really hear anything besides that exhaust leak on it. It was really, really loud. It's a pretty good truck. It's got 220,000 miles on it. I paid $4,700 for it at auction, and I've been driving around a little bit. I took it off the auction lot up there in Denver, made it about 5 miles down the road, and then it went into limp mode. And I think it was because of the exhaust leak was so bad, and it just caused some issues. So I got it home. I was having some problems with it. Something died out here. Shoot. Are you okay, little guy? You gonna make it? Oh boy, I don't think he's gonna do so hot. We'll feed him to the chickens. But anyways, got this thing home, and I knocked the catalytic converter. I took that off of it, and boom, that fixed my problem. I was getting the catalytic bank system issues on the code sensor, but long story short, once I finally got the exhaust leak fixed and I got the catalytic converter issue fixed, this thing was running really good. But all of a sudden I got an engine knock starting too on this thing. But let's listen to the engine and you can tell me what you think about it. There's that engine knock right there I was telling you about. Pull these guys up here a little bit. Oh yeah, and somebody stole the lid to my brake fluid thing. I think it sounds like it's on this side. This was the side that had the broken header bolts I put on, and it was the front cylinder blew out and it burnt some wires and stuff, so I fixed all those. And yeah, I mean, it's running good. It just has that darn knock. You can hear a little exhaust leak down there now, can't you? Huh. I don't think I got my back exhaust tightened up all the way. But yeah, so let me know what you think that knock is. If it's a lifter, if it's a main rod bearing down in there. I think I'm gonna go ahead and pop these headers off, or not the headers, but the valve covers off, and just take a look. So here we are. I just popped the valve cover off. It was really easy. Took about 5 minutes. The only tricky part to getting that off is these injector caps. You gotta pop this white piece, has to pop up, and then that little gray tab right there, just squeeze them together and wiggle them off. So anyways, let's start this up here. I was feeling around. There's a couple of these that are kind of a little wobbly. I don't think it's anything to really note or worry about, but for the most part, I think we're okay. But let's start this thing up and see what happens. I unhooked all the injectors, and I don't have this side hooked up to any sparks, so I don't know if it'll run or not. We'll find out here in a second. So let's see kind of what happens here. A couple of them aren't bringing the oil up to the top. Well, that's good and bad news, I guess. I'm gonna fill these one more time, make sure nothing's too. There's a little play in there, but it's not up and down plates. I think we're within specs still. I'm leaning towards lower end. So I'm gonna put this top valve cover back on, and then the next thing we'll do is we will take off the lower oil pan. That's going to be a little bit more tricky. So let me button this back up real quick, and then we'll take a look at the other side. Some work, but I got the oil pan out of here, and I took this top shield off. It sits here. Anyways, pop this off. I was really looking for some debris, thinking I might find something in there, and there's really not too much. I mean, there's a bunch of really fine silvery stuff, but there's no chunks. So I mean, this is a high mile pickup. Yeah, there's kind of some sludgy stuff in there, and when I put it there, you can tell that is metal. So there's definitely some wear on this motor in there somewhere. I'm hoping it's one of those bearings, and we'll find out, I guess. But man, yeah, there's a lot more sludgy, nasty metal. That's all just sludgy metal that was in this. 220,000 miles. This old truck. Oh, yuck. Yuck, yuck. So, yeah, in order to get the oil pan out, you do have to take the differential out. And you have to take the darn cross member out of there too, or support. But one thing about taking the front differential out is on this end, so this is obviously going back. This would be to the driver's side tire, passenger side tire. This bolt right here, it'll throw you a curveball. You'll think, oh hey, I'm looking at it from down below. It looks like they just didn't put a washer on it, but it actually threads in from the top. So you got to come in over here with a couple extensions way the heck down in there and then pop it off. So there's a tip for you there. But I'm going to take this next shield off and see if I can't get a good look-see on these main bearings. So it's been a couple days. I got some parts in. I was just swapping out some of these rod bearings here. It's really not that difficult. Well, we got all the main bearings and the rod bearings changed on this thing. The drive shaft off, back on, oil pan on, just filled up with some oil. And there's a couple little things that I need to button up, like the cross member, but I just really want to try this thing out. We can leave it parked here. So this is going to be the first start. Haven't started yet since I put everything back together. Let's see if we got rid of that knock. You know, these bearings, when I took these main bearings off, and I mean, there's some of them, like this one here, it was worn down pretty good. That was one of the main bearings, but the rod bearings really didn't look too bad. I mean, it really didn't look too bad. I mean, there's some wear on there, but this engine does have, if you look close there, this engine does have 200,000 miles on it. So, yeah, let's get back to it. First start, here we go. Let's see what happens. Hopefully we took care of that knock. Man, we did. Hope I can hear that knock coming back. And our oil pressure is at 35. Well, maybe we didn't fix it. All right, so we took this side valve cover off, checked the valves running, everything seemed tight, the lifters. We did that to this side as well. Let it run. We checked each individual one, and nothing's really bouncing out of whack or anything. Makes me start thinking maybe it's something like one of the cam bearings, and God, I hope that's not it, because if that's it, then it's, whew. But I'm going to put a stethoscope on it and listen around. I probably should have done this in the first place, but I just have one. I didn't have it. I've got one coming in, and we're going to poke around, see if we can't really figure out what it is. The codes are still reading. Something's up with the converters, the catalytic converters, bank 1 and bank 2. It's about the only code I'm getting out of all of this stuff going on. So I'm just not 100% sure yet. I mean, if those catalytic converters are messed up. They can make a knocking noise, but not anything like what I think I'm getting. But who knows? The only way to do it is keep digging, and we'll figure it out one way or another.